This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system, announcing the commencement of the annual purge. May God be with you all.
If the intro didn't scare you away, I'd like to welcome you to your full moon reading. And clearly, we're doing things a lot differently. But trust, it's for good reason. So for the next 24 hours, you have a task. And that task is to either tame your beast or release it. But let me not get ahead of myself. That's card number 3, Strength. Let's go back to card number 1, the Hermit. I feel to best describe this card, it would be best to use a literary reference. And the one that feels most appropriate from what we've all been feeling since Mercury went retrograde in Pisces on the 5th of this month would be the Divine Comedy, or how it's also known, Dante's Inferno. I would say since about the 5th, for some, the cycle can go as far back as September-ish, 2010, 2013, 2016, or even for most, it may just be this year. The most important thing to note about all of this is that you died, or rather a piece of you did, proverbially speaking, of course. Yet, nonetheless, somewhere around the fall equinox in one of those years, it felt as if you, like Dante, entered your very own inferno, your very own personal hell. And maybe since then, it's as if you've been exploring every single circle, all 9 of them, on your own. But the Hermit card shows up much like Virgil did for Dante as a guide, your inner wisdom, the light into your path. I'm sure you, as well as I, am eager for this whole process to be over and for Mercury to go direct so we can get on with our lives. But there's so much more here left to see, and there's still some work left to be done. You see, tomorrow, we approach the 3rd and last supermoon of 2019. And of course, you know, full moon energy is active 3 days before and 3 days after. I'm sure just hearing that will make you start to rethink what's been occurring for the last couple of days. But I'm pretty confident that it's now apparent that a cycle in your life is over. Even without any proof, deep inside, somehow you know. And even though the path forward is not yet entirely clear, I can also assure you that the full moon in Libra will illuminate just how far you've actually come, and even how far we have left to go. If you're familiar with the story, you know that in the 9th circle of hell, the last, is where Dante and Virgil face Satan himself. I say, what better place to face our own demons? The divine has offered you clarity in the form of this full moon energy to see clearly exactly what it is that's standing in front of you. Now, for each and every one of us, of course, our proverbial devil will be something different. But what I can tell you most certainly about it, it's your truth. It's your root. It's your pain. It's your wound. It's that roach we talked about months ago. And it's standing in front of you, showing you each one of its 3 faces. It's showing you that a betrayal has happened, a treachery, the worst backstabbing. And do you know who the culprit is? I'll give you one guess. It's you. The last circle of hell actually isn't fire. It's ice. And here is where he found the devil, frozen, stagnant, not moving, waiting Sound familiar? I thought so. But here you see the clarity about the one thing that has kept you stuck. Seeing that you didn't just descend into this personal hell with the retrograde. You've been here for a while. So long that kind of feels like home. Maybe you don't often venture to, level 8, 9, maybe not even 7 or 6. Maybe you stay somewhere around a comfortable 1 to 2. But now it's time to leave. It's time to face your truth and move on with your life. Now, again, for many of us, this can show up in a myriad of different ways. We all have our own personal root, that seed of discord that was sowed within our consciousness many, many, many years ago. Many of us as far back as our childhoods. But how this seed has grown into a fully grown 6-winged 3-faced devil depends on your experience, depends on what you chose to endure this life, what you needed for your own soul's evolution. It's different for all of us, but it could manifest in anything from a job that you hate that you can't seem to leave, to a relationship you can't seem to let go of, a fear of moving out of your town, or a fear of your own success. Whatever it is, it's a tree that's grown from that seed that was planted long ago. And if you or I ever intend to get out of this personal hell of ours, we got to face that demon. Right about now, I'm pretty sure you're wondering, how the hell am I supposed to do that? Hell, pun intended. Well, it's taming your beast or releasing it. If we think about card number 2 and card number 3, which is the Devil and the Strength card, what we're really talking about here is making a decision to take a new path. You've mastered the path that led you to where we stand now, in this 9th circle. Now you have an opportunity to exit. But if it was the lack of taming the beast that got us here or kept us here, and proverbial bondage, I only say proverbial in the sense that that harsh and evident truth that I talked about, it was really the betrayal of ourselves, or whatever your wound was. It's coming to the realization that, just like in the Devil card, those chains, granted, they're there, but they're loosely bound. The only reason why we ever stayed here is because we thought we had to. So in essence, we have been our own worst enemy. We have held ourselves in bondage. We've held ourselves captive. If, as in my case, emotional abandonment, when others abandoned, so did I. That roach that I talked about months ago, it goes so much deeper. It's how we realize how our life mirrors our inner state. It's the fact that whatever wound you endured, whatever seed was planted many, many years ago, whatever pain you experienced, it's the fact that we did not only experience that pain, but we chose to put those chains around our neck and to become it. We stand bound on the block in the 9th circle of hell, repeating that same cycle over and over and over again, feeling stuck, feeling trapped, feeling as if we can't get out. But now, clarity. Now we see the truth. Granted, we had that experience, but we chose to stay bound. Maybe before we didn't see how loose the chains were, but now we do. So will you tame your beast, or will you release it? What we do here is extremely important because we approach the full moon in Libra. That's your next card, Justice. But more about that later. The task now is to prepare for what comes tomorrow. So every word is important. Not only do you need to see the truth about how we got here, but it's also seeing the truth about contracts, ending the ones that are necessary to end, releasing baggage, all things that are no longer serving you. It's a need to focus on forgiveness, letting go of all unhealthy thoughts and feelings, anything that has settled into your heart that festered, maybe turned a little poisonous or toxic, releasing those things as well. Because in order to escape this inner state, this inner hell, in order to reemerge from this underworld, to begin this journey back, you have to pack light. Hashtag bag lady. All baggage has to be left behind because there's no possible way to get out of here unless it's just you. Nothing else, no one else, only you can fit. So who are you? Where are you? And what have you done with those seeds that were planted? What have you done in this descent into the darkness? Have you allowed it to further harden your heart? Or have you allowed it to soften it? Do you see the truth about every situation you've questioned? Is this third supermoon and the last going to be one that you approach with more clarity than the two that fell before? In the depths of your basement, what do you see? What are you willing to leave behind? Hopefully, it's everything.